You've probably heard of BPA. It's that pesky chemical that seems to pop up in every conversation about baby products, food containers, and just about anything made of plastic. You know it's something to avoid, but do you really know why? And what about all those alternatives that claim to be safer? It's time to dive into the science behind BPA, separate fact from fiction, and find out what all this means for your baby's health. Let's break it down in a way that's easy to understand, even if you didn't ace chemistry class. Bisphenol A, or BPA, is a synthetic chemical used to make certain plastics and resins. It's been around since the 1950s and has found its way into a wide range of products, from water bottles to the lining of food cans. But BPA didn't hit the mainstream radar until researchers started discovering that it might not be as harmless as it seemed. Here's the deal. BPA is what's known as an endocrine disruptor. In simpler terms, it can mimic hormones in the body, specifically estrogen. Hormones are like the body's internal messengers, sending signals that regulate everything from growth and metabolism to mood and reproduction. When BPA sneaks in pretending to be estrogen, it can throw off the balance of these signals, potentially leading to a host of health issues. The alarm bells about BPA started ringing when studies showed that even low levels of exposure could have significant effects, particularly on developing fetuses, infants, and young children. BPA exposure has been linked to developmental problems in children, including behavioral issues like increased aggression and anxiety. Some studies suggest that it might even affect brain development. Because BPA can mimic estrogen, it's been connected to reproductive issues. In both males and females, exposure to BPA could potentially lead to fertility problems down the road. Some animal studies have suggested a link between BPA exposure and an increased risk of certain cancers, including breast and prostate cancer. While the evidence isn't conclusive in humans, it's enough to raise concerns. There's also some evidence that BPA exposure could contribute to obesity, insulin resistance, and other metabolic disorders, setting the stage for lifelong health challenges. So, we know that BPA can be bad news, especially for young, developing bodies. But if that's the case, why isn't it banned outright? Well, it's complicated. While the risks of BPA have led to a lot of concern, there's still some debate in the scientific community. Not all studies agree on the extent of the danger, and there are a few key areas where the science is still murky. One of the biggest questions is about how much BPA is too much. Some studies suggest that even tiny amounts can be harmful, while others argue that the risks only become significant at higher levels of exposure. The problem is, determining what constitutes a safe level of BPA is incredibly challenging, especially when different bodies might react in different ways. While short-term effects of BPA exposure have been studied extensively, the long-term impacts are less clear. We know that BPA can potentially disrupt development, but what does that mean for children as they grow into adults? The long-term picture is still coming into focus. As BPA has been phased out of many products, it's often replaced with similar chemicals like BPS, bisphenol S, and BPF, bisphenol F. The research on these alternatives is still in its early stages, but there are concerns that they might be just as problematic, or even worse. It's a bit like swapping one risky ingredient for another without fully understanding the consequences. So what does all this mean for you and your baby? It means that while we may not have all the answers, we know enough to take some precautions. Here's how you can navigate the BPA minefield. While BPA-free labels are a good start, they're not a guarantee of safety. Be cautious of products that might contain BPA alternatives, like BPS or BPF, which could pose similar risks. Whenever possible, choose baby products made from materials that don't contain BPA or its chemical cousins. Glass, stainless steel, and medical-grade silicone are generally safer bets. These materials don't just avoid BPA, they avoid the whole class of chemicals associated with it. Heat can cause BPA and other chemicals to leach out of plastic and into food or liquids. Avoid microwaving plastic containers or putting them in the dishwasher. Stick to materials like glass or stainless steel for heating and storing food. The science around BPA is constantly evolving. Stay informed about the latest research and recommendations from trusted sources like the FDA, CDC, and WHO. What we know today might change as new studies come to light. At the end of the day, the science behind BPA is complex, and there are still many questions to be answered. But what we do know suggests that taking steps to reduce your baby's exposure to BPA and its potential alternatives is a wise choice. It's all about balancing caution with common sense. You don't have to throw out every plastic item in your house, but by making informed choices and opting for safer materials when you can, you're doing what's best for your baby. And that's really what it's all about, keeping your little ones safe, healthy, and happy as they grow. So the next time you see a BPA-free label, remember, there's more to the story, but armed with knowledge and a healthy dose of skepticism, you're more than ready to make the best choices for your baby's future. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe to Baby Bond Parenting for more insights and tips on keeping your baby safe. Share this video with other parents who might be navigating the BPA minefield, and let's all work together to keep our little ones safe and healthy. Thanks for watching.